Biff, let me know if, or when, or if we get Alex Weld on the line. All right, thank you.
Protesters were pepper sprayed and at least one taken into custody. And Ohio's health officials say the pause being imposed on the use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine should not cause alarm, but reassure Ohioans that safety is the number one priority. Kevin Landers has more with Ohio's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff.
Doctors say this is very rare what is happening with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. How rare? This is 1 in a million.
The fact that the CDC and the FDA have raised concerns and pushed the pause button on the basis of these 6 cases should give Ohioans great confidence.
Because Ohio is no longer using the J&J vaccine until it gets the clear from the FDA, it's shifting its doses of Moderna and Pfizer to other clinics. Outside the State House, Kevin Landers.
And I'm Daniel Barnett on the Ohio News Network.
Calls and conversations continue in less than 3 minutes as the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues after this.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is.
This is ONN. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. Police body camera footage shows a routine police pat-down of a man in a suburban...
Civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together, we will get through this.
Toyota RAV4 is the #1 selling SUV in America over the last year. Available as a hybrid and with all-wheel drive, it has the style and versatility for all your life's adventures. And through May 3rd, get up to $1,250 cash back from Toyota on select new 2021 RAV4s. Shop Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com. Then see your Toyota dealer. Go Toyota, and let's go places.
Hello everyone, from the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. A mix of sun and clouds, a daytime high of 54. Overnight low of 41 under mostly cloudy skies, mostly cloudy conditions for your Friday as well, with temperatures in the low 50s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Do you know what is the date today?
April 15th. It's tax season.
Oh, is that today?
Good news. Postponed. Postponed.
When is it?
I'm not sure.
Well, if we wait till tax day, I'm sure the tax man will show up.
He's the tax man.
Well, you can relax.
So, we'll just have a normal day.
Enjoy ourselves and then worry about all this later.
Sounds like a plan.
Ready when you are. Copy.
All right, start the show.
Live and local in the Ohio Valley, this is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Still 44 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. There's actually a wind blowing around, about 10-mile-an-hour wind, so the feels-like temperature at the airport, 37. So you definitely put a jacket on if you're going out and about this morning. 44 degrees, I should say, at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 44 degrees here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 44 degrees at the Robinson Auto Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Cloudy outside. Maybe some spotty rain will pop up during the day today, more likely in the afternoon. None right now, but it's just a cloudy, overcast. It's certainly not the kind of real spring-like weather we've been used to. It's going to look outside, see what's out the window. That's pretty much it for all the rest of the day today. You know, Biff, I thought when the legislature was over, I was going to, well, what are we going to do? You know, we've spent so much of our time on the legislature in the last 60 days. But, man, we've had a busy week this week.
It has been a busy week, and we still have one more day left in the week.
And I've got a couple of things yet to go here today. Some more things coming up tomorrow on the show that I think are going to be of interest. So, one thing, you turn the page, you say, oh my God, what am I going to do? The legislature's over. That's what I've been talking about for 60 days. And you find all kinds of interesting things to get into. Let's see, what have we been talking about and what are we going to be talking about today here on the Watchdog Morning Show? As I said earlier, apparently you can get better info on what's happening at City Hall from listening to the Mayor's Show, Vice Mayor Chad Fallman and Mayor Glenn Elliott's program, Your Wheeling, No Two Ways About It, every Wednesday here on the Watchdog Radio Network, because actually I picked up several pieces of new information which I have not heard at council or anyplace else on the show yesterday. I shared some of that with you earlier on this morning. Marshall County sex offender set free after 3 years of his 50-plus year sentence. What the judge said was essentially improper foundation given to the indicting grand jury. That opens up a Pandora's box that Joe Canestraro down in Marshall County will have to figure out how to handle. As the economy begins to rebound, many businesses having a hard time hiring good help, and I'm wondering, is this an unintended consequence of the pandemic? A realization of how vital employees actually are. Should the District of Columbia be given statehood status? Attorney General Patrick Morrisey wants to sue against it. Our political analyst and podcast creator Matt Robeson and I he was in with me this morning, and we were discussing that. As West Virginia experiments with paying people to move here and work remotely, a couple of national publications I came across yesterday say the idea is either foolish or unnecessary. And I shared with you an article from Wonket and also from Slate Magazine about that. And actually the Slate article is somewhat in tune with what Wheeling Heritage is doing here. In the Slate Magazine article, they called it pointless to offer a cash incentive to come to West Virginia because thoughtful folks who might think about moving to a nicer quality of life state already have figured out it's just cheaper to live here than it is to live in big cities. The Slate took a look at some examples. Morgantown, one-bedroom apartment goes for $675 a month compared to $2,000 a month in D.C. Buying a house, the same thing. So the article here was basically, look, if you're thinking about relocating, you don't need to be given a stipend. You just need to recognize what a nice place you could move to and how you could actually do it cheaper, which is, I think, sort of the premise of what Wheeling Heritage is trying with their Live Here concept. Alex Weld is Executive Director of Wheeling Heritage and is with us this morning. Alex, good morning.
Good morning.
Am I assessing that right? Basically, the premise behind Live Here that you guys are promoting is it's a nice place to live, and it's probably a better cost of living, and smart people should just kind of figure out this is a good place to be, right?
Yeah, exactly, Howard. I think that, so we had been working on this initiative for several months and just launched it 2 weeks ago. Unbeknownst to us, this program that the state and WVU and some others were working on was also getting ready to launch with this financial incentive attached, right? So, and we thought, well, at first we thought, oh no, people are going to move where they can get the money. But then when we really thought about it, right, $12,000 to someone who's maybe living in a large metropolitan area, as you said, paying a lot for rent, and it's kind of, they're a little bit, if they're looking to relocate, there are a lot of factors at play, and I don't know if $12,000 is going to be the thing that gets them to pack up their bags and move their whole family to another state.
Yeah, again, there's an article in Slate magazine, or the online Slate, that kind of takes that same approach. They call it pointlessness of bribing people, because if you're thinking about relocating, you've done some math, and West Virginia we have a lot of positive things to represent us, and it's just cheaper. I personally understand this quite well. My son and daughter-in-law had worked in the D.C. area for many years, and when they had their child, my grandson, they moved back to Wheeling. Now, my daughter-in-law still works from Wheeling for D.C. My son got a job here. But the bottom line is they saved dramatically. Cost of housing, cost of transportation, time of transportation. It took them 2 hours to get to and from work every day. And not to mention they have free babysitting 2 doors up. So. But I've seen the numbers. I mean, literally seen the numbers of how much they save just by moving. So that's the premise of what you guys are trying to get people to understand, right?
It is, yeah. So this whole program, we're targeting people in larger cities across the country who may or may not have ties to Wheeling, but who spend a lot of money to be close to their job and may now realize that's not necessary anymore. And so if they're going to be remote working, what are the things outside of work that are important to them, and how can they access those things in an easier way, with a better quality of life, in a cheaper way? And so when you put all of that together and you think about the things Wheeling has to offer, it's pretty unique in its size. I think it's the perfect size where you can balance, you're in a larger city. There are some really great amenities here that most cities of this size, frankly, just aren't able to support. But also, you can kind of get in here and make a difference and be a part of a community in a way that's more common in much smaller cities. So when you put all of that together, it's really the best of both worlds there. And I think that's our niche. That's kind of what the message is for Wheeling is, be a part of a city where it's small enough where you can make a difference, but it's large enough where you can feel like you're not anywhere USA. So that nice blend of things is what we're kind of honing in on, and we've gotten a great response so far. We are working on. So if someone has no ties to Wheeling, we want them to feel connected to this community. So we are working on some type of, for lack of a better term, incentive package around, how can is there a program we can create to say, similar to Leadership Wheeling, where people may be able to go around and visit different parts of the city and learn about them and meet certain people, and part of a cohort of new people that have moved here, kind of like a newcomers club type event. And also, wouldn't it be great if we could give them, access to some of the amenities here to try it out? So I don't know, like an Ogilvy Institute membership for a year or something like that.
I think that makes a huge amount of sense. Ogilvy Institute and the Symphony are two things that come right to mind that we have, and Ogilvy Park, by the way, as well, that folks from out of the area wouldn't comprehend. A city this size have a metropolitan-sized symphony We have one of the finest arts institutions in the country. We have the best municipal park in the country, I think. So yeah, come here, be able to work here, and you can do it now remotely, and play here in a great place. And I hadn't thought about what you just talked about. If someone wants to get involved, it's a lot easier to get involved here in a city like Wheeling, where I think right now government is very open to having people get involved in some of the nonprofit groups and so on, and it's an easier place to do it. So I just think it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know if you keep tabs on the Arts Commission, but that's a really great example. I think there were 16 new members added to the City Arts Commission a couple weeks ago.
And one of them was my daughter-in-law.
So you would know that. That's wonderful.
So yeah, that's exactly right. And the commission had kind of gotten a little quiet for a while, and here's a whole lot of new blood getting involved in that. So, I think that's great. And again, I'm using my daughter-in-law just because I have a personal connection to understand it. But in D.C. or Frederick, where they live, she wouldn't have been able to get as actively involved in some of the community groups she's already gotten involved in. But by being here, it's a smaller community, more open to that kind of stuff, and you can make more of a difference.
Exactly. When people sign up, we're working with direct online marketing on this campaign, so it's targeting people all over the country. But when they land on the website, they're asked to put their email address in to get this resource guide that we've created, and it's a really great document that outlines everything from the schools, the neighborhoods, the churches, the other ways you can be involved, and we have an entire list of all the nonprofit groups and ways you can access your community in Wheeling really easily. And that's in my personal thoughts, that's one of the best parts about the entire toolkit, because it shows you how you can immediately jump right into being part of the community, which I think would be much more challenging to even navigate how to find those resources in a large city.
How are you targeting people? You said to some extent you're looking at folks who have some kind of connection to Wheeling, and also those who don't. What are you doing? How are you targeting this? Or using online marketing to try and target certain kind of people, or what?
Yeah, so we own and manage WeLunk, and that's been a really great resource for us, because a lot of people who read WeLunk have ties to Wheeling. Maybe have lived here at one time, or have family that lives here, or maybe something piqued their interest about Wheeling once, and they signed up for the newsletter, so they kind of check in every once in a while. So we've made sure our WeLunk audience has seen this toolkit. So that's been really helpful, because it already includes people who maybe have, in the back of their mind, been thinking about coming back to Wheeling or coming to Wheeling at one point anyway. Outside of that, there are several large cities with people, especially north of us and even the D.C. area, there are people that, trends are showing that people are looking to relocate out of some of those cities. So we're targeting those cities as well. And then as we start to learn, becomes a pretty technical conversation, I think. But as we start to learn how the ad is being responded to by certain, by different demographic groups, we can then continue tweaking it to ensure that we are hitting the very specific right demographic of people, and geographically as well.
Yeah, and if anybody's interested in just seeing what you're doing, even if they're living here right now, just go to WeLunk, and you have a section devoted to what they call Live Here, I think, or something like that, and you can find out a little bit about it. And you have some basic info in there, everything from medium prices of homes to some of the amenities that we have around here and so on. By the way, it wouldn't hurt for local folks to go and look at it and say, "Oh, I forgot how good we are."
That is right. It's funny. I spoke to a couple that they actually live in a large city. We're interested in moving back here. This is a couple of months ago, and they're a very successful family who have 2 young children, and just all the things we talked about, right? Long commute time, access to amenities. They're kind of just thinking about Wheeling. The gentleman was from Wheeling, and when they visit Wheeling, his wife says, "I love it here. This is so amazing. This is a great community." And he said, it took her saying that a few times for me to kind of realize it, because I've looked at it as, this little town that I grew up in that I moved away from. And he said it took that realization for me to think, you know what, maybe we really could move back here. And so it's interesting. Sometimes that outsider perspective is kind of invigorating, and going to this website, I think, might help us to look at it in new eyes, because it really does help put Wheeling on the map, and I think in a different way.
You know, for much of my life, I've taken Ogilvy Park and Wheeling Park for granted. I think, you know, it's just there. It's where I went swimming when I was a kid, and you know, it's where you picnic when you were young. Yeah, I mean, in my older age here, my wife and I just frequently do a little driving around for something to do, and we often go to drive through Ogilvy. And I am now really aware. I mean, every time we drive through, I don't stop, but I think to myself, wow, what a great place this is. And how many people in this area stop and recognize that and say, you know, look at what we have, just thinking Ogilvy Park as an example. I mean, we've got a place with golf courses and swimming activities and tennis and hiking trails and beautiful gardens and a mansion museum and a great lodge, and we tend to take it for granted. So it's not going to help you in your attracting people to live in your program, but I do think all of us who are here need to stop sometimes and remember that as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I also think, you know, that cost of living piece is really interesting to me, because I think, you know, regionally, Wheeling maybe, to me, regionally Wheeling has always been the larger city. You know, I'm from Wellsburg, so to me, Wheeling's big city living. But thinking about the cost of living outside of the region, when you zoom out and you think nationally, the cost of living in Wheeling is impressively affordable. And we have a partnership with Kennan & Kennan on our page as well. And Missy Ashmore is working with us, and she's spotlighting a handful of homes that are for sale around Wheeling every month. So you can kind of get a sneak peek into like some of the home prices, but also kind of peek behind the curtain and look at the interiors of some of these homes, which is really, I think people enjoy that, right? Kind of seeing like what's trending in terms of real estate in the area.
I always feel like I'm snooping, by the way, but I do that a lot.
It's too good not to. Yeah, it's always interesting. And so Missy has shared with me that she has sold several homes in the last, I would say in the last year now, to people sight unseen. They've never been to Wheeling. They've never seen the home in person. But they said, and this was before our campaign, I can't take credit for this, but they would say, you know, we're looking to relocate. We've heard of Wheeling. We've done a lot of research. Maybe they've read some things on Wheeling, and they said, we're ready to do it. And so they just pulled the trigger and bought homes sight unseen. She said at least 6 people did that in the last year, and that's unprecedented for her, and being in real estate for several years. So this was already happening. You know, we're capitalizing on a trend that was already taking place and hoping we can help extrapolate on that. But it was interesting to hear that people were finding Wheeling on their own, and we're learning about the amenities and doing their own research, and seeing themselves here without, you know, this toolkit and this nice research guide we put together. So that was a really neat thing to hear.
And the concept of remote working has made it an easier sell, I think. Once upon a time, to attract people to come here, you'd have to say, well, we have some great job opportunities. We do, but not as much as we would like. So attracting people who can come here, work someplace else, but do so remotely, I mean, that expands the universe of folks who have the potential to be here.
Exactly. You know, there are people, I know of a gentleman who was like one of the guys at the very beginning of Wheeling, works for a national tech company and does so from Wheeling. A friend of mine, she works for Teach for America from home in Wheeling. There are several people who, they've already been doing it for years, and it works for them, it works for their family. I think all of us have seen what working remotely feels like. You know, I feel like I bounced from my living room to my dining room, which became my office. That was my commute every day for a year, and it was strange, and it really made me take a step back and think about, outside of my work day, what do I look for in life, and how is that being fulfilled? When you have all of that time that you're not spending commuting, and you're not able to, go to places that are very crowded, and that means being outside more, that means going for walks, that means enjoying parks, recreational opportunities, a lot of things that have always been here, but we maybe didn't look at that way because we were caught up in our day-to-day. So I think a lot of people in larger cities spend a lot of time looking out the window thinking, geez, there's that piece of city living that I don't have access to anymore that I would in a bit of a smaller community.
Yeah, I think so. And the commute's a big deal. My kids, I know my son, first day he went to work, he now works at Wheeling Hospital. First day he went to work here, he said, Dad, it used to take me 2 hours to get to work. He lived in Frederick, worked on the other side of D.C. He said, it used to take me 2 hours to get to work and get home. It took me 8 minutes.
Yeah, that's so funny. I always joke that in Wheeling it's rush minutes instead of rush hour. It's like around 4:30 there's a little pop in traffic, and then maybe around 5. I think with the construction happening on the interstate, that'll be a little different for a while. But you sit in a couple red lights downtown, and that's about it. You think about DC,
and we still complain, by the way, about sitting in traffic for 5 minutes.
Exactly, and I've been there too. Traffic's frustrating no matter how long you're in it. But again, when you zoom out and you think about the larger cities and what traffic means to them versus the traffic we've dealt with, very, very different, very different. And just getting to the metro, I have friends that even getting to the metro takes them 40 minutes, and then it's a very long commute to get into DC. That to me, the amount of time you spend just getting to work, you might as well just tack it onto your work day, So you're looking at a 10, 11-hour work day. In Wheeling, right, you get all that time back.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Alex, before I let you go, if people are listening, what can we do to help this project? Just simply be alert to our friends who are maybe out of the area and just make them aware that this is a good place to be and direct them to Wheeling, something like that?
Yeah, so we're sending out actually a newsletter today it's to our Wheeling subscribers. And the whole idea is, hey, you obviously care about Wheeling or you live here. I'm sure you know other people who feel the same way, but maybe, don't live in Wheeling anymore. Send this over to them. Forward this email to them. Just click forward and drop it in their inbox. Let them know that you think they'd be a great addition to the friendly city. And so that's one thing we're doing. Direct them to the website. If you're not on our email list, you can easily get on there on WeLove.com. But you can always direct them to the website and have them look at the toolkit, which I think really not only might help convince someone to move to Wheeling, but it might show them just how great. That might make them feel a little envious of the great things that are happening here. If you look at it as a Wheeling resident, it kind of makes you proud just to see it. So I think it'd be fun just to show that off to people anyway and say, look at all the great things that are happening here. It's a pretty feel-good piece.
There is such a tendency, Alex, I'll let you go on this, but it's a downer, but there's such a tendency on the part of some people in this area to look at everything as the glass half empty or to look at everything through the glasses darkly, I mean, you read some of the social media postings on certain sites, and it's like, well, I tell you what, this city's gone to hell in a handbasket, and we might as well close it up and leave. You can't see the value in what we have when all you do is focus on the negative, and it really frustrates me.
I'm with you, Howard. I that's something I always am grappling with, and so apathy is very dangerous in my opinion. And there will always be people that maybe feel like, first they're right that Wheeling will never be what it once was. They're absolutely right, but that doesn't mean it can't be something different and just as great. And so I think that realization needs to happen for some people, but I also think the more we can encourage people to be involved, the more that they may understand that we're kind of all in this together. This is a community effort, and making Wheeling a better place isn't going to happen on its own. It maybe years ago with different industries that were here, it happened outside of the community, right? People just came in and did it. Now we're in a different place where our community has the opportunity to be a part of that, and so. The tagline for Wheeling has always been "do something," and so that is our mantra for that entire thing, which is join in, contribute, be a part of it, volunteer. Just that feel good energy isn't going to be brought in from someone outside of here. We have to generate it ourselves to show Wheeling, to show people how great Wheeling is. So it has to start. It has to start internally, and the more people that align with that belief, and the more people that are bought in, it's all the better for Wheeling's future.
Alex, I appreciate your time this morning. Kept you longer than I planned to. I'm sorry about that, but good conversation. Encourage folks to check out Wheelong. First of all, just check it out because it's a really good thing to read. Secondly, look at the Live Here section and A, maybe feel better about your town, and B, tell other people to come here as well. So good luck with that whole project, and we'll probably touch base again from time to time. But thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Howard. Have a great day.
You too. Alex Weld is the executive director of Wheeling Heritage. And again, as I mentioned, this is Send to West Virginia program that is being funded by Brad Smith, and that Governor Justice has been very big on promoting. And it's okay. It's fine. They're paying people to come here, work here remotely. It's a funded program. It may have value. I'm okay with that. But I keep going back to this article from Slate that I came across yesterday, where the suggestion there is people who are thinking about relocating don't need to be bought with like cash stipend. Oh, I guess it'd be nice to get the extra cash if you wanted, but if people are thinking about relocating, they're going to realize they save money if they live in New York or DC or even Nashville or I don't know where, any larger city. They're going to save a huge amount of money by living in West Virginia. And in Wheeling, I'm going to focus only on Wheeling here because some other parts of the state, but in Wheeling, great amenities here, the Symphony, the Ogilvy Institute, Wheeling Park, Ogilvy Park, all of those wonderful opportunities that we have, and so many more. I'm just picking the big ones. Those are really the kinds of things that people would like to come. So they know they'll save money. They can see the advantages of being here, and will make that decision on their own. So I think this effort by Wheeling is actually a pretty good one. Okay, a little behind time, but what's unusual about that, huh? 9:36, 24 before the hour. I do have some national stories I want to get into. Also look at the infrastructure bill and how it might impact Ohio. I got a report on that coming up for you. All this and more before we check in with Bob Westfall from the Big 7 and turn things over to Hoppy Kercheval. This is the Watchdog Morning Show.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. Governor...
If I'm going to do the Ohio news story about infrastructure that I sent you, and then I will try and, that's let me see how long that is. I don't know how long it is. It's around 2 minutes, I think. I'll do that as soon as we come back, and then I'll take another break, and then by that time should be Bob's turn. Okay. So I'll do that as soon as we come back, and then we can get it, whatever else needs to be done commercial-wise after that. And again, hopefully Bob will be in by that time.
belong to you too. Lola and I can drive the bus, but you can jump on and join in. Breaking stories, local, statewide, national, and around the world discussed right here on The Watchdog. 304-214-1600. Real Big Talk with me, Big Rick. Weekdays from 2 to 5 on The Watchdog.
The Wheeling Nailers are back at it against the Fort Wayne Comets. Sunday, April 18th, puck drops 4:10. Enjoy a fun day with the Nailers and see possible future NHL stars. 65 former Nailers and Thunderbirds have already reached the NHL. Experience the 29th season of pro hockey in Wheeling. Get tickets now for the Nailers game. Sunday, April 18th at Westbanco Arena. Call 304-234-GOAL or visit WheelingNailers.com. This is Nail City.
Dutch Boy's new Platinum Plus paint with Stain Shield technology has the performance you expect from a luxury paint at a price you didn't. Platinum Plus is up to 50% more washable and stain resistant than a leading premium paint in satin sheen. Superiority ranges from 24 to 50% depending on sheen selected. Platinum Plus keeps your walls looking new longer. Menards and Dutch Boy paint have you covered. Go ahead, live your life.
Right now at Menards, get 11% off everything, including Dutch Boy paint.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them, just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear, including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
Are you struggling to make payments due to an unexpected financial obligation or loss of income? Are you receiving calls from debt collectors? Are you feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what steps to take next? Then you need the experience and expertise of attorney Tom McIntyre and his staff to help guide you through these temporary hardships. Want to hear more about how Tom can help? Then call 877-456-4155 and receive a free copy of Tom's ebook, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Tom's ebook covers many questions people have about bankruptcy and includes interesting stories about people who tried to avoid filing and people who have filed for bankruptcy. We think you'll be surprised to learn some interesting facts about bankruptcy. Call 877-456-4155.
There's a place where family and tradition are forged in the West Virginia hills, strengthened by the inspiration of a world-class education, where hands-on learning is encouraged and applied. A community where you will be supported and be inspired to support others. An experience that is more than just a university. It's a place you'll call home. A legacy you'll leave for generations to come. It's all here at West Liberty University.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Say I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Bellsville. The Watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Bellsville trusts the Watchdog.
If you miss a part of the show or want to listen again, you can find conversations, interviews, and rants on our podcasts at Apple Podcasts or on WatchdogNetwork.com. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
44 degrees and cloudy at the airport here at the home studios and at the Robinson Auditive Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. And there is a little wind blowing around, so the 44 degrees feels like 37. Put a jacket on if you're out and about here in the morning hours. And not going to get real warm today, 50-ish about where we're going. Last hour, we talked with Matt Robeson, our newest political analyst and consultant and conversationalist. He has the podcast Beyond Politics and Great Ideas, 2 great podcasts. I encourage you to seek them out on Apple Podcasts or any of the other podcast platforms you may choose to use. He's very big in the podcasting world. But Matt and I were talking about, among other things, the American Jobs Act, the infrastructure bill that President Biden is proposing and wants to get through Congress and the Senate. And among the ways they're promoting that bill is by trying to let each state know how the bill would help infrastructure in their state. Mary Sherman is with us here this morning from the Ohio News Service, taking a look at the details the White House has given for improving Ohio's infrastructure.
The White House is detailing its goals for improving Ohio's
One of the things that we talked about last hour with Matt Robeson is that the question of what is infrastructure is going to be debated, and there is some legitimate argument there. I'm not going to dispute that there isn't some. There may be some things in this bill that really, truly don't fall in any kind of infrastructure arena, but we have to recognize that infrastructure is more than just roads and bridges and sewers. Easiest to see example is broadband. That the broadband infrastructure is critical, and that is infrastructure. There are a number of other things that are in the American Jobs Act that may not seem like infrastructure, but they are, and that's going to be one of the big debates: is what is infrastructure. So it's a debate that in all likely be going on for some time. Biff, do I have to do a break?
No, we're good. I got us all caught up.
You're a good man, my friend. It's 10 to the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show, and I'm assuming that we have not yet heard from Bob Westfall, right?
Actually,
nope, we have.
Yep, he just called.
I just saw my note, so disregard what I was about to say and didn't say, which was to move into something else. And let's welcome Bob Westfall in from the Big 7, WTRF TV. Good morning, Bob.
Morning, Howard, and what were you going to say?
Well, no, I was just going to suggest that we go off to some other stories, that was all. And
well, you know
I'd much rather talk to you, that's all.
I'm going to tell you something. I've been cheating on you, Howard. I've been talking to Rick in the afternoon, too.
Oh, no. Big Rick. Big Rick.
And he doesn't take Wednesdays off.
You know, I don't take Wednesdays off, just this hour on Wednesdays I take off. Unlike some other talk show hosts here, like Bill DeFabio, who actually takes the whole damn day off.
Well, you know, Howard, you're not, you know, I mean, don't want to be the one to tell you, but you're not the star that, he is. Sorry.
Apparently not. Actually, you know what it is? I'm not as old as he is. I think they figure he can't make 5 whole days.
Wow.
Guy of his age, oh my Lord.
Somebody older than you in broadcasting.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah. That's why I hope Bill's around for a long time. It keeps me from being the oldest guy here.
That's cool. Yeah, I understand that. That's why I like Brenda Danehart around here.
I am not going to say a word about that. Not a word.
Good, because she didn't hear it, so we're going to move on.
What are you working on today?
A couple things. We're going to be talking to a couple of United States senators today. I'm going to be interviewing Shelley Moore Capito. I'm going to try and touch on the border situation. I know she has taken a tour down there. The question I'm going to ask her is simply put, is we spent all the money on a physical wall. The question to her will be, maybe does she feel that maybe some of that money should have went to judges and actual officers and technology? And that's the question we're going to present to her. The question is, I think, the way I've read it, I think 15 miles of new wall has been built. I know there's over 350 of the old walls been refurbished and completed and stuff like that. So we'll say 400 miles of wall. But the question is, the backlog and stuff like that, and getting these people into to court and stuff like that. Judges would help the situation. So that's probably my question to her.
That's a great question, by the way. I mean, I've never been a supporter of the wall, but whether you are or not, the question would be, is money better spent on building, another 5 miles of a wall, or on speeding the process along one way or another? And I think that's a very, very legitimate question. I'd be really curious to hear how she responds.
We're going to talk to that. We're going to talk to Senator Sherrod Brown out of Ohio. I know townships have been worried about getting their fair share of the American Recovery Act, American Rescue Plan. We are going to talk to we've talked to the state people. We're going to talk to Senator Brown today about them getting because townships have to maintain their roads and they have to maintain different things, their sewers and things like that. So a lot of people feel that cities are getting the money, counties are getting the money, regions are getting money. Townships just seems like they're being left out in the dark on this one. So we will be, I think Catherine's going to interview Senator Brown on that this afternoon. So we'll have that. Doing a piece today, as we know, hate crimes are up across the country, especially dealing with Asian Americans. We actually had a meeting, if you will, of the minds, and I know it's going to sound like a joke. We actually had Bishop Brennan, Rabbi Leaf, and Reverend Cummings. So we had a bishop, a rabbi, and a preacher come to the station and talk about hate. So DK is going to put that together and get their thoughts, some of their insights when it comes to hate and dealing with hate when we see that kind of situation. So that is one of my probably one of my favorite stories this week. So we're really excited about that.
I'm telling you what, you guys are pretty sharp today. That's another really good story. I'll be curious to see what they're all good, thoughtful people. Mm-hmm. I'll be curious what their thoughts are.
Yeah, so we're gonna have that. We're gonna get that in today. Something else for next week, just to put it on the radar, we're going to begin planning our coverage for the Wellsburg Bridge. That bridge to nowhere? The bridge to nowhere? It's Brilliant, Ohio. The plans are to float it Tuesday morning, push it downriver, raise it, I believe, early Wednesday morning, and trying to get it in place. So we will be down there, I guess technically we'll be up there for coverage. And so we're going to be sitting down today planning exactly where we're going to be and what we're doing. So,
are you going to do some live streaming of the actual movement? Because I actually saw that schedule, and because a lot of times while I'm on the air, and I was thinking, man, I'd love to watch that. I was hoping maybe you guys would be live streaming it. I don't know if you're going to or not.
Yeah, I'm going to get with West Virginia Department of Highways, see if they can get us the stuff, and we'll live stream it as best we can. So, yeah, we're working on that. That is in the plan. So that's big news. So about a year from now, maybe a little longer than a year from now, you might be able to cross the bridge to nowhere.
Maybe that's the way you could get to your house in nowhere land.
You know what? I don't know if other than going to Wellsburg, I don't see any plus to it, because if I can't see coming down Route 2, going through Beach Bottom and Moorwoods and trying to get here to work.
Yeah, I got you.
So,
although, honestly, and I'm not using, honestly, those roads are a little bit smoother than Route 7 right now. Man, that Route 7 gets to be a bit of a mess.
I don't know what you're talking about. But I would like to see the Department of Highway maybe take a look at, I think it's 67 out of Wellsburg that goes toward Pittsburgh. Maybe make that a little more of a 4-laner. Maybe a little quicker to get into Pittsburgh from where we're at, but I guess we'll see.
But who wants to get where you are, because you're nowhere?
I know, and you've said that several times on radio, so thanks a lot.
Is there anything else that you want to tell us about this morning?
No, a little bit. We're going to be checking out the weather, seeing what's going on with that, and right now, you know what, those are some of the bigger things we're working on.
All right, some good stuff, actually. Seriously, I'm looking forward to a couple of those stories. Really want to see how they work out. Noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30 statewide show with Mark Curtis, and always at WTRF.com, where news comes first. And also some goofy stories, too. And I mean that in the best possible way. I find a lot of good stuff off of the WTRF.com website. And, of course, your Facebook page as well, where no matter what you post, somebody will be critical.
Right. Well, that's just the nature of the business. I'm going to throw out there, if you haven't downloaded the new app, it's amazing. It's an amazing piece of art. You really need to have it if you want to keep up to date on what's going on around here.
Yeah, download the WTRF News app, and don't forget the Storm Tracker 7 app, which is what I keep on my phone and my tablet to keep informed of the current conditions and weather and so on. So those apps are good apps. All righty. I appreciate it. I will talk to you tomorrow, and we'll wrap up the week. Thanks a lot, Bob.
All right, man. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right, Bob Westphal from the Big 7 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Well, I guess that's about it for me. I got to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here. Kercheval has the Calm coming up next. I think Brad McElhenney is up first, I think, with him. Anyways, he's got a lot of good stuff coming up today. Statewide Talk Line. The TV7 News at noon, followed by Bill DeFabio and Kent Colby, I think, with Billy today, right?
Yes, he is.
I like Kent. It's going to be interesting. So that'll be a good conversation. And then Big Rick. Big talk with Big Rick from 2 until 5 right here on the Watchdog. As for me, good Lord willing, creek don't rise, bat phone doesn't ring, don't get impeached, don't retire, ticker keeps on ticking, don't eat too much, and Teddy says, it's okay, you can go back to work tomorrow, Granddad. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, another go round of the big gig. Are you back with me, Biff?
Back to close out the week.
We'll keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News.
All right, Biffy. That was not bad at all, I thought. Alex was better than I thought she would be, and I was only going to do 10 minutes, but it kind of, which was fine, turned into a nice segment, so that was good. Okay, I'm not sure about tomorrow. I've got McCabe. I'm trying to get Rosemary Ketchum to talk about the transgender bill. Haven't heard back from her on that yet. And I have some leftovers from today that I may flesh out a little bit more tomorrow since I didn't get to them, like Walmart moving their workers from part-time to full-time because they can't get any employees. So I'll figure something out before we hit 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Alrighty. If you need me, I'll be around. I think I'm home all day. Picking up Teddy. What are we doing today? What is today? Thursday. Today's his art class. Today's art class. So take him to. Yeah, it is. Take him to art class tonight. Yesterday was Taekwondo. Poor kid, he's only got one day of the week that's not scheduled for him. That's Tuesday, and that's the day he meets his little girlfriend up at Ogilvy's playground. So that's every night he's got something. He's got more of a social life than I do. There's no question about that. All right, if you need me, give me a call. Otherwise, I'll talk to you in the morning. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.
Nearby, the Derek Chauvin murder trial of George Floyd resumes for day 14. The Labor Department showing first-time jobless claims sank to 576,000, the lowest level yet in this pandemic. And U.S. retail sales also soared 9.8% in March. You're listening to ABC News.
It's totally normal to be constipated with belly pain, straining, and bloating again and again.
No way! You could have a chronic condition called irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives to help relieve belly pain and let you have more frequent and complete bowel movements. Individual results may vary. Do not give to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor today. You may be able to save on Linzess and make fewer trips to the pharmacy. See if you're eligible to pay as little as $30 for 90 days. Visit linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZES